Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Jeffrey. Of course, this is the Inquisitive Universe, and today we're going to be talking about the Redmi Note 14 series, or more specifically the Redmi Note 14 4G series. Yeah, the smartphone is set to launch in Nigeria on the 28th of January, and I've got the specs. I've seen them beforehand. I have studied them, and I am here to say I told you so. Well, I just won clean 1,000 naira bet from somebody because I told him that the Redmi Note 14 Pro 4G is going to be coming back with the same Helio G99. Well, it's G100 now. That's what they're calling it because it now has 200 megapixel camera support, but it's still the same G99 regardless. And no, it's easy money, and it's the same thing, right? It's the same thing. I predicted this last year. Okay, fine, I didn't really get one prediction correct. I predicted that they were going to bring the Redmi Note 14 with the same Snapdragon 685. Well, that is not actually true. Let's talk about the specs. Let's see what this phone has to offer. Now, of course, I'm not going to go into explaining them. I just want you to see them, right? Both the Redmi Note 14 Pro 4G and the Redmi Note 14 4G. Just the basic, that's the basic vanilla Redmi Note, and then the Pro version, which isn't even looking like a Pro anymore. But all of that will be waiting for you at the end of the video. Let's just look at the specifications. Now, the very first thing, of course, typical body, right? So for the first time in the Redmi Note 14 series, we are seeing this phone is coming with an aluminum frame, which is actually quite interesting. The back is still plastic, but an aluminum frame is a first. Now, the weight is around the 180 190 grams. Doesn't really matter much. The phones aren't really that heavy. The Pro version has IP64 rating, right, which is kind of like a first for the Redmi Note series. Never really seen that before. Then you move on, you talk about the display. 6.7 inch 1080p AMOLED display with 120 Hz, 295 ppi, 1800 nits of brightness, and Gorilla Glass protection. The 14 Pro 4G has Gorilla Glass Victus 2. The basic vanilla one just has Gorilla Glass 5, basically. Yeah, so again, both phones have the same body. Both phones have the same display. There's only one big difference we've picked out so far. That's the IP64. Then you go to the performance. Helio G100, G99. It's the same thing. It's the same processor. The only difference between the G99 and the G100, which I've been crying about for a long time, is that one of them has 200 megapixel camera support, which is the G100. Other than that, they're both identical. Performance-wise, CPU-wise, GPU-wise, everything is the same, right? We move on. We'll talk about software. They both use, as expected, Android 14 with HyperOS. Cameras, yeah, this is where you see, okay, the difference between the Pro and the non-Pro version. 200 megapixel camera for the Pro version, whilst 108 megapixel camera for the non-Pro version. Then there's 8MP ultra wide. On the Pro version, the non-Pro version lacks that, right? So then again, you see 2MP macro. They both have that. There's a 2MP depth sensor. I really don't want to talk about. I don't want to talk about depth sensors. Depth sensors are like so last year, right? So that's for the camera. Selfie camera, 32MP for the Pro version, 20MP for the non-Pro version. So all of them record videos of 1080p at 60 fps, although the selfies are just 30 fps. Let's put that down there. Now, of course, there's stereo speakers at the top, at the bottom. It's basically the standard now. 3.5mm jack. Thankfully, they didn't remove that. And then there's Dolby Atmos for the sound. And then you move on. Communication, everything is what you expect to see there. 4G, Wi-Fi 5, Bluetooth 5, GPS, NFC, IR blaster, USB-C. Then of course sensors. Fingerprint sensor is on the display, AMOLED display and all that. Accelerometer, gyroscope, compass, proximity sensor, and light. And then you move on to the battery. They both have a 5,500 mAh battery, but the Pro version has a 45 watts of fast charge, whilst the non-Pro version has 33 watts, right? Which is, again, the standard for the mid-range. Now, if you look at these two phones, right, the only difference you can pick out between the Pro version and the non-Pro version is, okay, other than processor name, which some people are going to be looking at, they don't really realize that it's the same thing. It's the same body, with the exception of water resistance or water protection. It's the same display, it's the same processor. Okay, cameras, different main camera, 200MP, 108MP, right? But same speaker setup, the same communication setup, the same battery size, the same sensors. So basically the key differences here is camera and fast charge. And the differences aren't even all that much. So what's the difference between, when we start talking about this thing, some people will be like, what are these people nitpicking about? You don't really get it, Redmi phones have tiers, right? Redmi Note 7, Redmi Note 7 Pro, Redmi Note 8, Redmi Note 8 Pro, 9, 9 Pro, 10, 10 Pro, and so on, right? The Vanilla Pro version is supposed to be the more cheaper one. It's supposed to offer you like good performance, but it's not really on the level of the Pro. The Pro is usually miles ahead of the Note version. That's how it always was. If you look at the old phones, you see this to be true. Note 9 was not the same, it's not in the same ballpark as Note 9 Pro. Note 10 is not in the same ballpark as Note 10 Pro. That's how it has always been. But at this point in time, we're not, okay, not we, if you're on this channel, then me and you will know. Them are not starting to realize that the 4G version is here. It's at its end point, breaking point. There is really nothing else further. There's nothing further. It's just here. It's done. So much so that the vanilla Redmi Note is not on the same level as the Pro. That should speak volumes, right? It should speak volumes, because I've been talking about the stagnation of Redmi phones for a while, right? I'm not going to come out here and start telling you, hello, the Redmi phones for a while now has been stuttering, they've been staggering. I know that's what some people want to hear. It will kill the veracity, or what's the word to use now, the gravity of the message. I'm saying it as it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat or hide anything. Redmi has been stagnant for a while. The whole world has moved on. You would think that, once upon a time, whenever anything new came to Redmi Note, we got it. There's been Redmi Note 5G phones, right? Vanilla 5G phones that should be selling at around the same amount we're buying 4G phones here. But our overlords, our masters, the ones in the headquarters, wherever they are that makes these decisions, believe that it's not Nigerians. What do they know? Give them. And the funny thing is that they will actually be justified in making those statements, because what do Nigerians know? You would come out here and try to educate them from now till tomorrow, but there are still people who will still come out and argue with you and say, he's just a hater, it's just a this, he does not even know, has he used Redmi before? Yeah. That's what they'll come and tell you. The same people you're trying to protect. If you want to go and buy, it's up to you. I'm just here to report it. The people who will get the message will get it. If the message is not for you, there's no point in arguing with me in the comments. Just leave it be, right? So let me talk further. Let's just rush out and finish this video. I don't want to waste too much of your time. If you take this Redmi Note 14 Pro 4G, right, and you hold it up against the Redmi Note 13 Pro 4G from last year, and then the Redmi Note 12 Pro 4G, you will see that there is no difference between the Redmi Note 14 Pro 4G and the Redmi Note 13 Pro 4G. Okay, you could pick out some small things, some small differences, right? What is it? The 13 Pro 4G came with Android 13. You can always upgrade that one. I really don't see what's there. Okay, it has water resistance, and the 13 Pro 4G didn't have that. Okay, you could always pick that one up too. It's got a better selfie. Look at these things I've mentioned now. Are these things really worth you going out into the market to splash 300,000 naira plus for a new phone? Should I put in the fact here that apart from the 500 mAh small capacity they added, which may or may not be true, we don't know. Do you know that the fast charging on the old Redmi Note 13 Pro 4G is faster than the new one? Again, is Redmi going forwards or are they going backwards? If the funny thing is that if you actually even take the old one, the Redmi Note 12 Pro 4G, which is actually the Redmi Note 10 Pro 4G, you will see that the Redmi Note 12/10 Pro 4G still has some advantages over the latest one. Right? If you look at the old one, it has 4K video recording, 4K video recording. The new one with its so-called 200 megapixel camera cannot give you that. The old one has faster charging. Hello? I'm not saying you should go and buy the old one. I'm just telling you how far that a phone from all those years ago can still stand toe to toe. Basically, it's the same phone. Right? They are bringing in the phone, they'll put this one, they'll remove this one, they'll put this one, they'll remove this one. Oh, 67 watts fast charge is what we gave them last year. Remove it, give them 45. Remove this one, put this one. So basically, it's the same phone. They are just chopping and changing, so that it will not be like as if everything is the same, that everything is, what's the word to use, that everything is identical. They don't want it to look that way, but it's still the same phone back to back. And they are going to bring this phone into the market, and people are going to rush it. They are going to buy it. The only phone here that I'm going to give them credit for is the Redmi Note 14 4G, the basic one. That one is miles ahead of the old Redmi Note 13 4G. The 14 4G is miles ahead of the 13 4G. That's the only thing. Because basically what it means now is that the vanilla Note is now on the level of the Pro version. That's what it means now, with some few minor things removed and attached here and there, but that's just about it. That's it. That's the situation of Redmi Note phones in this country. There are better Redmi Note phones. In fact, there are better Redmi Note phones with better performance out there. Those ones are the ones that should be pushed. I know, of course, they will bring one 5G Pro version. Of course they will. But will they push that one as much as they are going to be pushing the 4G versions? No. Do my people care? Probably not. That's it. That's what's happening. Right? No time to sugarcoat anything. If you want a more detailed video comparing specs, of course you can always drop in the comments. I'm going to take my time and do that one, but I didn't really want to waste a lot of time on this video, because if I say everything that is really on my chest, this video will be as long as 20 minutes, right? So that's it. Thank you very much for coming to hear me rant about Redmi. I'm a huge fan. Really, I am. I have used a lot of their phones. I used to pack them on in that corner and then better remove them, I'm a huge fan, right? So it's not just, some misguided person coming here to talk. I've followed their history. I've been present since 2019. In fact, since 2018. But I bought into the brand in 2019. But that's just about it. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and share. If you've got any stuff, contributions, additions, corrections, comments. If you know you're coming here to fight with me, I'll probably not answer you. That's it. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.